Ladies and gents, please stop lifting paperweights when you're supposed to be lifting kettlebells. Damn! Hi guys, Eric Higgins here, personal trainer and movement coach, and I'm here to help you to improve your exercise performance, your safety, and your results. Movement quality and awareness is king when it comes to longevity and effective conditioning. But safety first. Make sure you have medical clearance to train and you don't have any major issues with your heart, your back, your hips, or your grip strength. The primary muscle groups being hit during the kettlebell swing will be the muscles of the posterior chain, primarily the hamstrings, the glutes, and the erectors, supported by deeper core fibers and supported, of course, by the lats and the shoulders. Now, strengthening this pattern will not only improve your foundation for total body strength, but most importantly, will help with you to maintain a solid posture. So let's have a look at some of these common mistakes people make and set you up with the correct dynamics and the cueing for an effective kettlebell swing. Mistake number one people make is incorrect weight selection. Now, kettlebells are an awesome conditioning tool for total body strength, for stability, for fat loss, and for cardio, but you need to be lifting a significant enough weight in order to be effective. This needs to be a weight that forces your body to adapt to the dynamic loading of the swing, but is also something you can complete with confidence. If you find yourself doing some kind of a floaty front raise, then you need to up that weight, my friend. There are exceptions to the rule, but for ladies who are beginners or who have a baseline of training, start out in the neighborhood of between 10 to 12 kilograms, and for gents, start out between 14 to 16 kilos. Mistake number two then is in relation to the grip. The moment you pick up a kettlebell, it has the potential to become a human wrecking ball. When you add sweat, swinging movements, and a slippy handle, you soon realize the importance of chalking up your hands. A simple magnesium chalk is essential to coat your hands before every round of your kettlebell swing. Mush it in, get it nice and consistent so you're ready to grip. You also want to avoid over gripping the kettlebell, as you want the kettlebell to oscillate between the hands so you don't unnecessarily fatigue the hand as you go. Mistake number three then is kettlebell selection. I personally don't use cast iron or plastic kettlebells, and I'm going to show you why. First of all, the handle on the competition bells remain the same as the weight increases. A lot of the cast iron ones get chunkier and chunkier, and it becomes harder to hold, and it's almost next to impossible to do a comfortable, clean movement, which is cradling the kettlebell along the body. So the bell body itself can actually increase as the weight increases with some of the cast iron options, but with the competition bells, these also remain the same size. So it has that ergonomic benefit, but also the comfort benefit for when you're trying to do more advanced lifts. Mistake number four then is incorrect selection of footwear. Jesus, woman. Now, there is a time and a place for an extra bit of cushion in our heel. Let's say if you were out for a run, doing some cross-country running, a lot of impact or hard surfaces, sure, make sure it's a wide toe box if you're doing so. But for kettlebells, they're not so useful. So when it comes to the bells and lifting weights, you're better off to work on flat trainers like Converse, or a specific weightlifting shoe if you have them, not necessary though. I like to also work in bare feet. The reason being, I get a good sense of the ground below my feet. It stabilizes my nervous system so I know where I am in space. So there's a proprioceptive benefit of really working all the musculature of the feet and also pushing in hard with the big toe to lift the arch of the foot. So you've got that tripod stability of those 3 points of contact with the feet, and also being able to feel the weight shift into the heels on the kettlebell swing. Pushing in hard with the big toe is a really good cue for you to remember to keep stable as you grip through the whole movement. Mistake number five then is in your hinge dynamics, your hips drop too low, your knees bend too much, and it becomes more like a partial squat rather than a hip hinge. So it's very important to make sure that it is a hinge movement we're doing, not a squat. Alright, so let's show you how to do the complete swing with all the cues, the bells, the whistles, and as many cues as I can possibly give you so you can be safe and effective, guys. It may get a little bit pedantic for some of you guys who don't like details, but I'm a details guy. And when it comes to safety, the details is what is the difference between you having an accident and being safe and effective throughout your life. So let's get to it. Safety point number 1. Chalk those hands, baby. Make sure you get a decent covering of chalk on your hands. From the ground up, the roots of the tree, I'm going to go wider than shoulder width distance with the feet. I want to grip with the feet. I'm also driving the hips into external rotation. You see the knees drive out like this, which turns on the glute medius. All right, so we're setting the foundations for success. I want to feel the weight in my heels as I hinge forwards to reach for the bell. Okay, so I don't want to start in a deadlift position or a squat. I need to be far enough from the bell so that I feel that pull in the hamstrings as I shift the weight into my heels, all right? In this position, if we properly engage our ab wall, you will feel our transverse abdominis switching on. This is our natural weights belt, so you have to continuously breathe behind this shield, as I learned from Pavel Tsatsouline, a Russian kettlebell coach. So what we're doing is, wider than shoulder width distance, we're gonna bend the knees slightly, hinge the hips. Now I'm not doing this stuff, all right? Keep the angle of the knees as is for the whole swing until we come into extension. I'm gonna reach forwards, catch the bell, the weight is in my heels. When it comes to the torso, I want to imagine I'm crushing an apple under my armpit, so I'm pulling my arm down, externally rotating my shoulder so the shoulder's open, which essentially switches on my lats and my rear delts in this position. I don't want my shoulders doing this as I'm doing kettlebell swings. I want to keep this stable and strong so as the arm comes through, the head of the humerus is open, okay? I don't want this impinging inwards that can cause issues, okay? So all of those cues combined, we're gonna add those together with a short, snappy breath pattern for the kettlebell swing. So I hinge, tilt the bell, take a strong inhalation as I release the bell from the floor, abs on. Here we go. Inhale, exhale. Now I'm driving from the hips. All of the power is coming from the hips. The line of the kettlebell also does not come lower than needs be. I don't want to flex the wrist. I want to touch the forearms off of the inner thighs, but do not let this turn around. Otherwise, bada bing, you might end up hitting the crown jewels at some point. So making sure the arm is in neutral, okay? The thrust is coming from the timing from the feet and the hip drive. So watch this again. I want you to see as the heels drive down, the hips drive through. My arms are weightless with a slight flex in the elbow. Here we go. Shoulder height with the bell, soft arms, eyes forward towards the horizon, keep the back flat. And it's a short, snappy breath. Okay? I'm trying to catch at the peak of the swing, the heel drop, the hip extension, the glutes are driving on, abs on, arms are shoulder level. I want to see can I reach that 3-point raise all at once. That's the timing challenge with the bells. We shouldn't be floating the bell. I don't want you guys to be lifting the kettlebell. All right, I've seen that a lot in gyms. Guys, the power is coming from the hips. It is a posterior chain exercise, not a shoulder exercise, guys. You do frontal raises, different exercise. So, from the hips, time the breath, control the breath. This is how I love to coach my personal clients, is with a sense of fun, is with a sense of passion, but more importantly, a sense of precision with your training for safety and effectiveness. So if you love this kind of video and you want to see more, we're going to have more videos coming. So like, subscribe, share with your pals, and we'll see you on the next one, baby. Bam!